Hello, hello, and welcome. We are live on Tuesday, May 9th, 2023, and we are here for the daily transmission. Please say hello wherever you are. I am honestly so overstimulated this morning. I feel like there are a zillion sounds going on around me. Fucking lawn equipment as usual, just blowing leaves around like it like that's the job. We've got banging going on, we've got all kinds of stuff going on, but you know what? That's why we always call back our inner peace to ourselves, because we cannot control the world around us, we cannot control our external circumstances. All we can control is what goes on inside of us. And that is why we are so grateful for our daily practice. Actually, that is like, I didn't intend to start this way, but like I said, sometimes I just open my mouth and then before I know it, this thing is over. So we're going to go with it today. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were going over her human design and some other stuff. And it was just like so obvious to me why certain patterns were emerging, why certain behaviors were emerging between her and some other people. And as I was like sharing just tidbits of this, and also I was like re-editing a book that I put out in 2020 yesterday. And so that's available now at the link in my bio. But anyway, we were going over just like basically creating that inner stability. We call it core stability when we're talking about the specific sphere in your gene keys, your purpose sphere. And like as I was sharing this with my fiance, he has told me over and over and over again. And I feel like this is just like basic like marketing concept. When I go to astro talkie on you, it goes over your head. You know, I know that you're not an astrologer. That's why you're listening to me. I know that you're here for something else, right? You're here to establish inner peace. You're here to have some sense of understanding and core stability. It's not about the information. It's about what you're able to do with it and how I'm able to share those action steps with you. And so as I was talking to him, I was saying, you know, what she really needs is a breathwork practice. And he, you know, and I kept talking about some other stuff, and he, like, I could see it on his face. Like he was still really stuck on that specific note, like she needs a breathwork practice. And he asked why. And basically, like, I could get into the weeds of the astrological reasoning with you, but would it really matter? Would you understand? Or is it more so like the reason that I'm telling you is to develop core stability, right? So that you are unshakable, so that you are grounded here in your body, here on planet Earth. And so you're not head in the clouds, in the past, in the future, trying to engineer all of your solutions, trying to fix things from the past and being all in your anxieties, and just like truly being grounded in the present, because it's when you're grounded in the present that you can make your best decisions. And so, you know, I could go into the weeds of explaining all of the astrological reasons that this person in particular, I recommended a breathwork technique, but does it actually matter? Because it all has to do with the design, Earth, and the specific line where that was when you were born. But the more that I talk about that stuff, like how much of that is really landing, and what does that even mean anything to you? So I would really appreciate it, actually. Like, this is a conversation I'm opening up for you today. Wherever you are, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're listening to this through my Substack, I would really appreciate you sharing with me what is more important to you, right? Do you get lost in the sauce when I get overly astro talky? Because I feel like I've worked really, really hard to not go too deep into the like deep end of jargon pool with you, and to pull out as much as you need to give you some kind of context for why I may recommend a specific action step, whether it is, a breathwork technique, whether it is a movement practice. I can tell looking at your chart what is best for you specifically. But, you know, when I'm talking in these like general contexts, it's a little more challenging. That's why I do like continue to point back to something like a yoga practice, because when constructed properly, it really should hit all of the specific notes that are going to create that grounding experience, no matter what your design is. But as always, I encourage you to listen to yourself. So I just thought that that was a really interesting conversation that popped up between me and my fiance yesterday, because he is the one who really tells me, you know, he's like, when you get too deep into, you know, the squares and the Mars sextile Venus, and we've got Uranus Cazimi, he's like, I don't know, that just like my eyes start to glaze over and I don't understand anything that you're saying. And rightfully so, that makes sense. If you were speaking a different language at me that I didn't understand, my eyes would likely glaze over and I would not understand, or I would ask like, can you please translate for me? And so that's really what I try to do, is I try to just be that translator. And so one of the ways that I find the most impactful, just like really the reason that I feel like I come back to energetics and specifically human design over and over and over and over, because there have been like breaks and pauses that I've taken with it, although none so like drastic and public as the one that happened at the beginning of our last eclipse cycle. I'll go into that at some other time. It doesn't really matter right now. But the reason I keep coming back to it over and over and over is not just because of how I am able to process my own energy and like honor my own energy and be able to see myself, like catch myself in insecurities and patterns before they begin to actually like emerge or like fester. That is already like a huge plus, obviously, like know thyself, you know. But it's my interactions with other people. So not just in the way that like I you know, again, like I'm able to differentiate like, oh, is this mine, is this not mine, you know. I have a much better, and truly I feel like I have a much better handle on that because I took so much time away over the last 18 months, just away from the information and away from like putting my like over analyzing and over intellectualizing and just like overthinking everything. Oh my gosh, undivided hand and ajna problems, am I right? Anyway, so it's my interactions with other people and being able to honor them as they are, and to be able to help them to honor themselves as they are, you know. Like being able to raise my daughter not as an image of myself, but as an image of herself, and to help her to learn her own mechanics. That's a gift. Like she's not going to have to do so much of the repatterning and the reparenting that we have to do now, because she's already going to have her roadmap. She's already going to know her blueprint. Like we're still in the process of imprinting her genes now, because she is still 7, you know, she's almost 8. And so we are like moving through that genetic imprinting, you know, time frame now. And so it's just, I feel like a really cool gift and a really cool blessing to be able to honor her as she is, and to be able to help other people to do the same, whether that is to like honor themselves, which is incredible. It's been so cool, like watching the transformations. I mean, I've been doing this forever, right? I've been doing this for a really long time. I mean, it feels like forever, but I've been doing this for about 9 years now, and or close to 10. Oh my God, I have to start like not, what is it that they, right? Like over a decade, and then you just leave it at that, right? Because then people start trying to do math. Although what am I talking about? Like I've got my birth charts and birth details like literally all over the internet. So you know how old I am. I'm 34. Anyway, so I've seen these transformations. You can read a few stories in my book that I republished. It's $3. I have a link in my bio. It's called Emotional Authority. And it's really about helping you to understand yourself and those relationship patterns, right? So whether it is like romantic relationships, whether that is sibling relationships, whether that is parenting relationships, I cover a bunch of them inside of the book. But what I just can never seem to get over is the aha moment when people realize like why they've been having friction or tension with another person, why that's been happening when we look at the energetics, right? So we look at each person individually. We look at what's going on up here, like how's the weather today? I know that my daughter, she gets, sinus like nasally when we have our first rains of the season. I don't, but she does. We should be prepared for that. The same thing happens when we're talking about like our astrological movements as well, like I have one of my last Ask Mama Capricorn posts over on Substack. I referenced this because we've got someone who has one of the gates in their, I don't remember which, head or ajna, defined, and then the stars right now are moving in a way that the other end of that channel is defined, and so now she's got both of those centers defined. And so where normally ideas are just going to pass through in and out, and she'll be able to and just let them move through. With having those both defined right now, it's a little bit more like, oh shit, like I'm just filled with ideas and they're stuck in here and I feel like they're all supposed to be mine and I don't know what to do with them. And so that happens here, but it happens also in our interactions with other people. It's so interesting, like doing my yoga teacher training now and learning about energetics and all kinds of other stuff like through that lens, because we had a functional movement teacher, a functional medicine doctor. I don't know. I still can't figure out what to call him. Dr. Lance. He was talking about how our energetic field is felt within, I think it's 2 feet or is it 7 feet? Something like that. I know I have it written down somewhere, but it's literally like measurable within a certain radius of you. And that's essentially what we're talking about when we're talking about the energetic exchange in human design, is that like literally you are sharing space with another person and your energy is talking to each other. And sometimes that's going to be really harmonious. Sometimes it's going to be really like energizing and like, oh, it's so fun. We love it. And sometimes it's going to be like tension oriented and like, what the fuck's going on? And the more that you have awareness of yourself, the more that you're able to give that awareness to other people in your life, the more that you are going to experience the external piece. I started this by like making kind of a joke about just all of the chaos that's going outside today. It's like, I swear, just trucks banging and like lawn equipment buzzing and just so much noise out there. And I can't control it. I cannot control any of that. All I can control is what happens in here. But so much of our peace does get stolen from us simply because we are not in charge of our energy and we are giving it to other people unconsciously all the time. And we are allowing ourselves to take on their energy. And so when you have more awareness and you have more empathy and you have more grace for yourself and you have whatever practices it is that are attuned to your body, to your vehicle to get you grounded. That's why I emphasize, especially for emotional authorities, but really for anybody, morning practice. Now, I don't care what that looks like. It can look like anything. I've got suggestions, sure. If we have a session together and able to look at your chart, or if you're a subscriber, if you're a paid subscriber, if you want to submit your chart, you want to write a question and ask, hey, what would be a good grounding technique for me? What would be my, Mama Capricorn's recommendation according to my human design? What would be a great morning routine for me? Now I'm going to make recommendations, but you are still in charge of you. I still want you to feel into your body and yes, no, right? Or whatever that means to you. But really what I want you to understand is that sometimes you're going to get directions that are going to ask you to just gently push against your comfort zone. There's a difference. I love this phrase. I heard it in a yoga class. I'm going to use it forever. Thank you so much, Lauren. Discomfort is okay. Pain is not. If something feels wrong, if something feels just incorrect, like, no, I'm not going to do this. Like, I do not do cycling. I'm not going to do cycling class. I'm not going to do that. Pass. Wrong. No, thanks. Thank you though. Thank you for the invitation, but I'm going to pass. And it's not because, right, like I don't want to be uncomfortable or whatever. It's just, no, that is just not for me. Now, I'm going to go to a Pilates class next week, and part of me is already like regretting it. But I know that I could use some like alternate strength training. So much of yoga is push, not a whole lot of pull, and I could just use some more strength. And so that's something that's uncomfortable for me, but I'm still like, okay, this is not painful. I've got really tender knees. I'm just like a short person. I'm 4'10", in case you are like, oh, how tall is this person on the internet? I'm very short. And so things like cycling, things that, right, I need like a kid-sized bike. But like a kid-sized bike made for geriatric knees. Do we have that? It's just like very specific. And I just truly don't I don't get anything out of this. I'm not more energized. I don't get that same feeling that I do from my yoga practice or from a Pilates class. Now, I'm not going to love Pilates the same way that I do yoga. Yoga is like my true love, but I'm going to get the benefit that I'm looking for, and I'm pushing past my comfort zone without actually violating what I know to be true for me. Okay. So that is like the best direction that I can give you. No matter what it is that someone recommends for you, no matter what it is that, right, if you're like trying to establish a morning routine, or if you're trying to, no matter, right, anything, if you're trying to create a goal for yourself, if you're trying to strategize your way from here to there, that's all well and good, but you don't have to follow someone else's blueprint because you have your own. If you want to learn more about that, stick around, friend. Again, I've got the Emotional Authority book available again for purchase. I cannot believe what is time? What is anything? It's at the link in my bio. You can get it for $3. It's a fantastic book. Just like toot toot beep beep. It's really good. And especially if you have like family or loved ones or people that you have tension with that you'd like to have just a little bit more awareness, a little bit more grace, a little bit more empathy. It's a really good tool for you to just check out. So again, $3, link in my bio. I've got new posts coming out on Substack this week. Paid subscribers, of course, you get to toot toot beep beep. So paid subscribers, if you want some recommendations, like, hey, what would be a good grounding practice for me? What would be a good morning practice for me? You get to submit your chart, get to submit a question for paid subscribers, and I will write a whole post for you. So you could do that. It is $11 a month to be a paid subscriber. And then one more thing, I do have my incubator reopening next month. I am so been loving this experience for my first round of this incubator program. We've gone through the 3 gene key sequences, or we're about to go through the 3rd one. And it's just been a really, really beautiful experience. I think that I'm going to adapt it a little bit next time and maybe stretch it to 4 months just so that I can get a little bit time on either side. But that's what first rounds are for, right, friends? So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you want to get more info, you can either send me a DM or you can just stick around. my Substack will know first. And of course, so will you, my friends on the transmission. So that's it for today. Love you so, so much. Please go use this Uranus Kazemi day to your advantage. This is a day to like say what you want to say, be who you want to be. The rules are for squares and you're not a fucking square. So what rules? Okay, that's it. Love you. See you tomorrow.